All right, 7:58 p.m. I'm like a minute and a half early. We're recording on the Zoom side. Let me make sure that we're rolling on the YouTube channel. Watch, Get a Clue, all one word. It looks like, in fact, we are. Let me go ahead and there we go. All right, cool. And then I'm going to get us going on the Facebook Live, and then we'll get started here in just a little bit. So let me go ahead and add a description. Get a clue in 52. That's what we're doing tonight. Another installment of Get a Clue in 52. All right, with tip number 11 overall. All right, let's go ahead and start that live video. Let's see what's happening on the Facebook side. And let's switch that around. There we go. All right. So we should be going live on Facebook right now. We're recording on Zoom at 7:59. We're less than a minute in front of 8, but early is better than late, on and on and on. Let me go ahead and welcome Patty, who's with me live tonight. And this is another installment of Get a Clue in 52. Remember, I did the first edition of this book in 2019, and then last year in 2020, I decided I was going to read a tip every Sunday night at 8 p.m. And we did it 52 consecutive weeks. I think there was one week where I did it on Monday night because of Super Bowl. And anyway, it was pretty consistent. And I got 52 recordings and we had 52 conversations. And we're doing it all over again this year for the second edition of the book. Lots of improvements in this edition, the formatting, picture choices. We've reorganized the content to some degree. One of the things I love most about the new edition of the book is the back cover. It was so well written by Patty, who was with us live as always. A description of what's this book about, and very simply, it's 5 categories represented by the big light bulbs here. And we've got communication. We just finished 10 tips in communication last week, so tonight is the first tip in the second section. Tip number 11 overall is tip number 1 in marketing. We've got 12 tips in marketing. There was 2 extra tips in marketing to give me a full year's worth, and we start the first of 12 tips tonight. And tonight's like an overture of the next 11 tips. So I'm going to get into reading that in just a minute. But the other 3 categories are networking, sales, and accountability. So get ready for those as we progress through the year. And it's a neat journey. It's a neat little community that we've built on the YouTube side, the Get a Clue group in YouTube, Get a Clue in 52. We're close to 700 members just organically, not through any advertising or weird promotions or anything, just me inviting people that are in my sphere and others that are coming on and getting value from this, inviting people to join as well. So it's an intimate, cozy group, I would say, but we're growing, and quality is sometimes better than quantity. Not always, but sometimes. And what we're doing this time is we're streaming these live streams, these videos that I'm doing every Sunday night. We're streaming into the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Watch, Get a Clue, all one word. Watch, Get a Clue. So in addition to these videos, there's some other cool stuff on the YouTube channel that you may want to check out. Thank you for subscribing to Watch, Get a Clue, all one word. So we're going live on Facebook. We're live streaming into YouTube, and we're here on Zoom. If you want to join the conversation live in real time, it's very, very easy. It's just tinyurl.com/get a clue. tinyurl.com/get a clue. And then like Vipul, who has joined us now, and Patty, who is on board with us, and usually Charlie shows up and a handful of others. They're joining me live on the Zoom side. So that way, after I'm done reading tonight's tip, we pivot into group conversation. We talk about anything under the sun. So how cool. Let's go ahead and get into it. I didn't do this last week. In full disclosure, I was coming off the golf course last week, and many times this year, I'm going to do that. I'm going to golf on Sunday. I'm going to have a couple beers, and I'm going to be feeling really loose when I get into 8 p.m. I didn't golf today. But last week, I forgot to read anything from the dedications section. So I'm going to read 2 of them tonight. I'm really grateful for everybody that's made an impact in my life up till this point. And so I had a lot of people to thank in the book. And I want to go ahead and get to some of those. So the last time I read any dedications was 2 weeks ago, and we thank Dr. Mike Reel, who is a mentor of mine. Last week I skipped over this, but let me get to it real quick. To Greg, thanks for inviting me into big boy conversations about authoring and the personal growth industry. I couldn't be more grateful and eternally wish you all the best. Greg, you know who you are. And then, to catch us up tonight, I'm going to read another dedication from the section. This is one of my best friends on the planet, to Bennett. I'm not sure if you know that I consider you a mentor, and this might be a pretty cool way to find out. From being a family man, a businessman, and most definitely a Lakers fan, I owe you the world for all that has come of our friendship. Love you so much, brother. All right, that's to Bennett and his beautiful family, Sherry and the kids and everybody. Lifelong friend, if you ever want to know who Bennett is, he's a clothier out of LA and a diehard Lakers fan. And, for those of you that know, Shaquille O'Neal thinks I'm his good luck charm. Well, I don't think I would have ever gotten close to Shaq in any way that I did without Bennett, and Bennett being the link to my Laker fanaticism and getting season tickets and all of that. So amazing things have come of that friendship. Now, having done all of that, I want to go ahead and allude, like I said, we're done with the communication section. So normally what I would do is I would do a review of all the tips that we've covered so far in any given section, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm not going to review all 10 tips in communication. We're just going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to get into tip number 1 from the marketing section, and it should appear, well, the marketing section starts on page 40 with a couple of cool quotes there, but I'm going to go ahead and get into page 42. Tip number 1. Is everybody ready? Hello, Patty. Hello, Vipul. I see you guys here with me on Zoom. How are you guys doing? Everybody good? All right, wonderful. So here we go, word for word. Starting on page 42. Tip number 1 in the marketing section. Know what you need to know, ... then know it. There is a lot to know when it comes to marketing. So my first marketing tip is to know what you're going to need to know and make a plan to know it. Sounds kind of cheesy, but let me continue. Some of you might already know your customer really well, but you don't know exactly what you can promise that customer. Others of you know who your competition is and what they do well, but haven't yet figured out how you are better or unique compared to them. Some of you know the locations your prospects will be, but are unaware of the proper channels to reach them. Some of you know the features of what you are selling, but struggle to explain the benefits. In either case, here's a short list of things I believe all marketers need to know. And let me clarify that and say this is kind of 101. It's all marketers need to know this, but especially if you want to get better at marketing. Let's say you're a 0 on a scale of 1 to 10 and you just want to get to 1. Here's a list of things you can know. And the other thing about it is I hope you, I talked about the 80-20 rule in a minute. So let me just keep reading word for word and I'll cover it. All right. The 80-20 rule, 80% of value comes from 20% of parts, meaning there are 2 things on the list below that are more important to you than all the rest combined. Bullet point, next bullet point. Know your customers thoroughly. Know your competition so you can be better and different. Know the conditions, what market conditions help or hurt your efforts. Know the issues your customers face. Know your products and services inside out. Know your brand, ... your promise to the marketplace. Know the drivers of buyer/human psychology. Know a wordsmith to avoid death by jargon. Know the difference between a brand and branding. Know the channels, ... along which to send marketing messages. Know location, and location, ... to place your marketing messages where your prospects will be. The list above is partial compared to everything a great marketer needs to know, but thorough and effective for anyone looking to improve as a marketer. Start with the 80-20 rule and look for the 2 items on this list you must make a plan to learn more about to get better right away. All right, I hope that came through in the word for word read. Here's a list of like 11 things that I think all great marketers would know, but especially anybody that's good, wanting to get better, or not so good, wanting to get decent, just the evolution, right? And if you're overwhelmed by all 11, like, oh, how am I going to figure that out? Don't get overwhelmed. Just pick the 2 that you think are going to be most important. And it's even better if you work with a coach on this. Sometimes we have a hard time choosing ourselves, or we'll argue with ourselves about what the most important thing is. So having an external soundboarding mechanism, like a living, breathing coach, a human being that can give you feedback and ask questions and confront your ideas or assumptions about your marketing efforts. Often that's really a change. And even better if it's a marketer that specializes in marketing. Any coach, any soundboarding mechanism will be helpful, but even better if they know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. Last year, I had like 3 different guests among the 12 tips in the marketing section. And I may be reaching out to others that may want to come in, subject matter experts that could go deeper than I ever could. I know a lot about marketing conceptually. I know a lot about marketing communication. I know a lot about wordsmithing and language and drivers of inner psychology. But when it comes to other aspects of marketing, getting messages out, selecting channels, what's the technology behind marketing? There's other experts that can go way deeper and more thorough than I can. But hopefully this is a good overview of things that are good to know. All great marketers will know these things about their own business. And anybody that wants to get better needs to figure out which among these things they need to start knowing better than you know right now. So let me go ahead and open up or ask Patty and Vipul to open up your mics for tip number 11. Get a clue in 52, whether you want to talk about what we've covered tonight or if you have any other questions or comments or anything else you want to discuss. It's always a wide open hour once we pivot into group conversation. Thanks for those of you that may be joining me on live. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, watch Get a Clue, all one word. And especially my thanks goes to Patty and Vipul who are here with me live on the Zoom side. You guys, what do you got for us? You guys want to open up your microphones and join the conversation?
Pat, I always say ladies first.
Oh, wait, let me do this. I got to remember to do this. I got to get rid of, give me 1 second here. I got to make sure the audio comes through. Let's go ahead and test your audio real quick, people.
Yeah, can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hang on. This always happens.
Is it on my side? Can you hear me, Patty?
Yeah, I can hear you, people.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I can hear everything now, guys. Go ahead. Because I start off with the headset on, and then when I unplug it, the Zoom says, what? Yeah, all right.
People, no question has arisen, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, I really like this. So we're in tip number 1 in the marketing section, right? I love marketing, and I'm glad to be on. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, so I like these things that you mentioned because it's important to set some time off to work not only in your business, but how you like to say work on your business, right? Yeah. And this is what this means is know all these, know your brand, know your drivers, know your wordsmith, to spend some time to work in the marketing section, which is exactly what I'm doing right now because I'm trying to create a marketing plan for my hotel. And I'm putting a high level thing together. And so I'm cutting, and I'm doing my power hour. For those of you that do not know, I'm going to promote a little bit of my book here, a little bit. Tip number 17, I believe, which is do your power hour. So I'm scheduling some time to do tip number 1. Jeff's talking about tip number 1. I'm scheduling some time to work on my business and put it in my power hour.
Yeah, there's nothing shameless about this. Let me go ahead and plug your book right here. Here's Vipul's book, Give Your Way to the Top. And it's got 52 tips in it as well. And Vipul is citing one of them that he's very proud of called the Power Hour.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to working my Power Hour tonight after I get off this session. Yeah. But, you said something else that I really wanted to reiterate, Vipul, which is high level. Work on versus working in.
Yeah.
An analogy that I like, if I can share it with you guys, is imagine American football, right? And imagine being the quarterback. Okay. And now there's 21 other people on the field. Most of them are bigger than you. 11 of them are trying to get you. And through all of that commotion, you're trying to see 80 yards down the field to like some white stripe, that is just a little bit bigger than all the other white stripes in between you and the end zone. All right. Do you understand? Like it's moving fast and you're running for your life and it's a different pace. It's a different tempo. Now imagine being in the Goodyear blimp looking down at the stadium. Oh. Right now you can see both end zones. You can see all the players on the field. You can see the sidelines. You can see the parking lot. You can see everything, right? And that's the best place to make decisions. right? So that's why they put offensive coordinators, they put them up in the box, so to speak.
Yeah.
Offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators in football, they're not on the sidelines. They used to be, but they're not anymore. They're up in the box so they can see panoramic views or high level, like you said, views, and they can see everything in one eye shot rather than the forest through the trees, which would be ground level, right? And I think that's a really good metaphor when you're talking about working on your business versus in your business. On a day-to-day basis, we're all doing, like, there's a good marketer will tell you that everything you do is marketing, right? Everything you do that somebody else can observe markets your business one way or the other, markets yourself one way or the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when you're just on a day-to-day basis, like on the ground level, you're in the play, you might not make the best decision. Let me give you an example. Let's say a company wants to hire and they know that they need to hire, right? So they're running a play. Hey, did you get the ad posted? Did you get the ad posted? We need candidates. We need candidates. We post the ad, post the ad. So let's say they're hurrying because it's an HR specialist or generalist and they've got a bunch of HR duties that they're responsible for, and staffing is just one of them, right? And so they go and they post the ad, right? Hey, we're looking for candidates for this type of company, for this type of position. Here's how you apply. And then 30 resumes come in, right? But that same person that posted the ad, they don't have time to look, look at the resumes that night. So now there's 30 candidates on Tuesday at 12. Let's say Tuesday in between 12 and 4. 30 people submitted their resume, but they don't get a reply email or a, hey, thank you for your resume, or hey, we're reviewing all applicants and we'll schedule phone interviews. You should know. Like, how many of you can imagine applying for a job and never hearing back from human resources? How many times do you think that happens? Like every day, right? Well, that's not marketing. That's human resources. Yeah, that is marketing. Does that make sense? So that says something. That's an experience that people have with your company, right? So from a good marketer will remind us everything we do is marketing. And when we're making those decisions in the play, like the quarterback with 11 people trying to get us, we might make bad decisions. But if we take the time to work on the business, go up to the Goodyear blimp, look down at the whole landscape of our marketing plan, and make good decisions up there, then when we get in to run a play, decisions have already been made. Good decisions have already been made. And it's easier to run the right play, to implement the good decisions that have already been made, rather than having to make it up on the fly and make mistakes and so forth. So that's all conceptual and theoretical, but that's what we're talking about when we go, right? And this is an overture. The bullet list that I read of the things that you want to know is a preview for the next 11 tips. I dedicate a tip to each of those bullet points that we just did an overview of today. So today, tip number 1 in the marketing section is really just an overview of the next 11 tips. And we'll dive deeper into each of them as we progress throughout the section. It'll take us literally 3 months to get through the marketing section. 12 tips. Pretty cool. Vipul, Patty, what else do you guys got?
I was just gonna say one other. Oh, sorry, Patty. One other thing, just to get things in action, because I'm a man of action. I would say spend some time, because I know I'm guilty of it. For those of you that are watching that are business owners here, and maybe on the Facebook side, and Patty, we're business, or you have multiple businesses as well. How often do we spend the time to work on your business? Yeah, we're always working in it. So my plea, or my thing to tell everybody here before I get off, and I do have to get off because my little sister's in town, but I wanted to get on because I think this is so important. It was so relevant to me when when I saw your flyer about reading this tip, so I knew I had to jump on. But one thing that I wanted to stress to everybody is to get out there and take action and schedule your time in to work on your business, right? And
yeah, I mean, you make a really incredible point. Let's see if I could do this really quick. I don't know how soon you may have to jump off, Vipul, but let's take a look at, if you look at this is the, for those of you watching, this is the workbook for my coaching and leadership training. And without getting too crazy into it, this is what I'm referring to now as the integrity game. It's got 3 learning units. I teach how to sell the mission or the job or the vision, or in other words, how do you get people enrolled or engaged in a leadership conversation? or leadership relationship, whether it's coaching, leadership, supervision, what have you, right? How do you get people engaged, first of all? Then how do we motivate them? And then how do we hold them accountable? So this is all of that in a diagram form. You can see the integration of getting people engaged, motivating them, and then holding them accountable. Well, one of the ways that we motivate people is by giving strategic information. Where am I going with all of this? If we go to the strategic information section of my coaching and leadership training, one of the things that most entrepreneurs and small business owners really benefit from is understanding Org Chart 101. And I call it jokingly the Klubeck 12 step, right? 12 steps to business sanity. So what we got is here it is. This is a 101 approach, and this is 12 accountabilities that all businesses must meet in order. Like, here's the premise is, if your business isn't growing or you feeling pain on a day-to-day basis in your business, we've got 12 points that we can ask about and we'll find it. This is like a 12-point diagnostic because these are the 12 accountabilities that need to be met. Now, I'm not going to go deep down the rabbit hole and explain all 12 of them, but what I am bringing this up for is to show you that these boxes right here represent departments in the organization, right? So 3 accountabilities right here are in the operations department. 4 accountabilities right here are in the finance department. I like to explain that sales only has 1 accountability, and that's convert. But marketing over here, this is the marketing department. And of all the things that a marketer has to do, they all fall into 2 accountabilities: find people and inform them, find them, inform them, right? In other words, market research and market penetration. Just to be really brief about it. Well, why am I bringing all of this up? Not to focus on the accountabilities, but to really highlight what Vipul is saying. If I have a marketing department, how often am I having a marketing meeting in my business? If I have a sales department, how often do I have a sales meeting where I take an hour and I put it on my calendar and I say to myself, even if I'm the only one in my business, for an hour right now, I'm going to talk marketing. I'm not going to answer emails. I'm not going to answer phone calls. I'm not going to be text messaging while I'm watching a webinar, while I'm not going to do all of that. I'm going to dedicate I'm going to make an appointment with myself to hold my marketing meeting. And in that 1 hour, let's say it's Mondays from 4 to 5 o'clock. In that hour, I'm just going to be thinking about, and I'm going to put up my do not disturb sign. And all I'm going to be thinking about in that 1 hour is, how do I find people? And then how do I let them know that they could buy stuff from me? And I'm not even going to be talking about how I convert them from, right? But basically marketing is, how do I turn John Doe into a lead, and how do I turn a lead into a prospect? A prospect is somebody that's willing to understand that I've got something to sell. Never mind how I convert them. Never mind how I serve them. Never mind what I charge them and how I collect all of that. But I want to know, what are the ways in which I'm going to find customers, prospects, and turn them into customers, right? So and now if I'm a one-person company, Vipul, I might have a marketing meeting with myself once a month.
Yeah.
But if I grow and I've got 4 employees, now maybe I want to do it every other week, so that I can not only do the strategy, but introduce accountability into that marketing meeting as a performance manager of the people that are reporting to me, right? Sales. I don't care how big the company is. I should be meeting with myself at least once a week on sales to figure out what's the pipeline, what's the status, where are things at? You understand, what are the accounts that are hot? What are the accounts? Who just got converted and needs to be customer served right away? Who's in stage 1 of the process, stage 2 of the process? Who needs an offer? Who needs a proposal? What's the next observable action to move things forward, right? I need to meet with myself at least once a week when it comes to sales. Operations, how often do I need to meet with myself on operations? Maybe once a month again, until things grow, right? When I've got somebody like a Reed on board that's creating the Klubrary and putting new products available, now maybe I want to have a once a week because I got to manage somebody else's productivity. But when it was myself, I would just have a once a month operations meeting. But now that I've got Reed on board and I have to manage his productivity, I'm having an operations meeting once a week, right? But I'm just trying to create a visual there for you guys to make your point, Vipul, is make appointments with yourself to go up to the Goodyear blimp, look down at the whole thing, make really smart decisions, so that then in between meetings, you're really making better decisions, and the decisions are more effortless, and so on and so forth. I think that's what you were talking about. I hope that you appreciated that elaboration.
Yeah, that was great. That's exactly what you need to do when you want to know what you need to know, and then know it.
Know what you need to know, then know it. Patty, what do you got before VPOL jumps off? What do you have for tonight?
Well, I was chuckling over the way you used location, because
Thank you.
that's such a real estate term. But when you're from the, the blimp looking down, placing your marketing messages is all about location. And I was thinking about how much that ties into the second bullet point of knowing your customers,
Yeah.
knowing where they're going to be seeing a possible message helps
Yeah.
you know where to put it in the
Yeah, I
location.
might have Joey. I might have to see if Joey will come back on and really, I mean, like, I don't know if there's anybody on the planet that does better at this. Marissa's really good at it too. I've had both of them on in the past. I'll see if either of them could come on next week when we do a deep dive on really knowing the customer. Right? The more you know about the customer, it's easier to answer this other question. Well, where will they be? Where do they hang out?
Right. The psychographics, as
You know,
as Joey calls it.
Yeah, psychographics. Well, demographics are characteristics that we can observe with our eyes. Psychographics are information that we have to ask about. It's the stuff inside the head, right? Now, VPOL, I love golfing with VPOL because I remember last time I went out golfing with VPOL, it was last weekend, as a matter of fact, right? Wasn't it last weekend?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
and
was
we're out
last
there on the
night.
course, and there was one guy that was like, runs a BMW dealership in LA, and
Oh, yeah.
another guy, Jeff, I forget what he did for a living, but boy, was Jeff interested in what we did for a living.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys do? What's going on? And by the 8th hole, this guy, Jeff, is like, oh, I can see how you and VPOL make a really good team. But the point is like, who golfs? People that golf, what? If an investor is one of your target customers, right? A golf is a good place to, you know what I'm saying? Like if business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate execs, or brand new retirees are part of your, right? Then where do they hang out? Golf courses is one place. Where else? Charity functions, charity events. A lot of people that have that are looking to invest, they have money to give away. They have money they don't want you to be taxed on, so they're hanging out at charity events. I'm just giving one example, right? VPOL, you work with a lot of investors through your investment endeavors and all the businesses that you're involved in. So it just, playing golf makes sense. You feed two birds with one grain, and so, yeah, location. You want to grab your attention there, right? We've all heard that in real estate, and it's true. So our clients, our prospects,
I didn't remember that.
yeah,
I was going to say I didn't remember that from last time we read this chapter.
Well, thank you for saying that too. That's important. That's why we're doing a second edition, because every time you do it, you might get something different out of it. You hear what you're ready to hear in that particular moment. Well, last year, this was, the marketing section was the third section. This year it's the second section. So I'll just tell you, last year you were hearing this tip in like May. This year you're hearing it in March. Right. And so maybe there's different things on your mind. Things resonate.
Funny you mentioned about golf courses, because somebody called me up to wanted me to place a full page ad in a brochure that they would put in golf courses in the area for coaching. But I didn't feel as though that was necessarily the location that my customers would be seeing that,
Yeah, maybe not. I got contacted recently. I don't know if you saw the posts, right? But there's this organization, Global Forum of Education and Leadership, and they found me based on criteria. And the research team did a search, and they positioned me for a nomination for Excellence in Education Award, and I went through the process, and then they chose me. And the research team did a. Oh, there you go.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're checking out the YouTube side.
Yeah, I was making sure there's no comments on Facebook for.
Well, the idea is, like for me to receive this award, right? They want me there in person, naturally, because me being there in person will enhance the event on some level, right? For the attendees, etc. So there's to some degree, there's an investment, and now I have to say to myself, do I want to make the investment of time and whatever resources, hotel room, flights, whatever you follow, the conference admission or whatever the case may be, to go and just be there and receive the award. And then you got to figure out, well, who else is going to be there? And you look at other speakers, other recipients, technologists, investors, panelists, etc. And then it's really easy for me to imagine, if I'm in this environment and I've got a badge around my neck that says Excellence in Education, I've got a hot knife through warm butter when it comes to the networking I'll be doing, right? Like, what an entree. People are going to ask me about myself. Hey, I saw you on stage. Hey, you're the guy that got the award. right? And even if they didn't see me, they could just, people at networking events, you look for name tags, right? And when they look for mine, it's going to have a special designation. Does that make sense? So then you know how easy that makes the networking. But when I studied who are the backers, who's the board of advisors, who's the nominating committee, the organizing committee, I saw that there's tons and tons and tons of people that I think VPOL wants to meet. And so I sent a message to VPOL right away, like, hey man, clear your calendar. You may want to come to this thing with me, walk around with me. And we could have a really, really, really productive networking day or 2 or 3. When I saw who was there are people that are investing in education-based technologies, and people that might be really exciting for you and your investments firm, etc. So anyway, I digress. It's like think about it. Before I decided whether or not I would receive an Excellence in Education Award, which is like free branding and promotion for me, before I decided that I was going to receive it, I had to figure out, well, are any of my target customers there? Or is there anybody there that may want to do business with me? Is there anybody there that may want to hire somebody like me to come in and help with their endeavors? And the answer is 100% yes. So I'm going and I'm going to do it. I'm going to really enjoy it. But I'm also crossing my fingers that VPOL's got room in his schedule, because I think me introducing VPOL to people that I'll be meeting at that event could create all kinds of opportunities. So I'm really excited about all the groundwork that we're laying in terms of how thorough we are in each other's worlds. And when we go meet people, this guy Jeff on the golf course saw it right away within 8 holes. Oh, you guys are a really good team. I'm excited about all of that to share that with more people in the world. But we have to know where our people are going to be, and we have to go be there together, right? What else? Patty, VPOL, anything else for tonight? It's kind of a quick one tonight, yeah? Quick and dirty, to the point.
It is, but you just illustrated the difference between knowing your brand and branding.
Yeah. The brand is the promise to the marketplace, but branding is getting that promise out to the marketplace. Totally different things. Let me say hello to Brenda, who's watching on the Facebook side. Hello to you. Thanks for joining in. Total difference. We're going to elaborate on all of those tips in the coming 11 weeks. It's kind of fun to do an overture of them all without having to dive deep into any of them yet, but you can begin to see how they correlate, how they interact, how they relate to each other. You get good at knowing one of those 11 points. It's going to inform you on some of the others. Like you just said, the more I know my customer, the more I'll know the where my customer will be. And it all ties in. Martin Lopez, hey, thank you for showing up. It's always good to see you, my good friend. We are in Get a Klu in 52. This is the second edition of the book, organized differently in a different order. Formatting is cleaned up, grammar, spelling, punctuation cleaned up, page numbers are in there, updated the dedication section. But what I'm really excited about is the preview chapter of The Integrity Game. My next book that I'm working on is called The Integrity Game. And the second edition of Get a Klu in 52 has a preview chapter. That's reason enough to get the book. And the book is available at theklubrary.com, KLUBRARY.com. And so is VPOL's book, Give Your Way to the Top. You can pick up a copy of this at theklubrary.com as well. And I'm going to be adding more books. Martine, if you have a book that you want me to make available on theklubrary.com, just let me know. It's really easy to get the Amazon reseller account and plug in the links and all of that stuff. So I'm going to be looking forward. If you're out there and you want your book to be promoted or sold or listed on my Klubrary, klubrary.com, let me know. We'll get you up there. And that's going to be fun to grow the list of books that are available with one-stop shopping there on the Klubrary. That's in addition to the freebies that are up there, like 2 comp sessions or the mini accountability course or the Kluby snack videos. And then, of course, there's some very affordable e-courses available as well, like on strategic staffing or being a confident candidate, communication competence, 8 steps to fearless public speaking. We're going to be adding more courses there as well. So hello to you, Martine and Brenda, and anybody else that's watching on the Facebook side. My gratitude goes out to VPOL and Patty, who are here with me on the Zoom side. And if you ever want to join via Zoom, it's very easy. tinyurl.com/Get a Klu, and you can come in live and join the conversation. But let me go ahead and get us back to our families and our Sunday nights if there's more stuff to do. Let me go ahead and make last call for comments, questions, jokes, anecdotes, stories, wins, anything like that. Last call for tonight. Patty, Vipul, anything?
No, that's been good though.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I think it's good because it's a like you said, it's an overall view before we dive deep, which is where
Right.
which is where the conversation needs to be.
Yeah, so that's the other thing too. For those of you that are planning on being here in the coming weeks, read ahead, make a list of questions, and show up with questions. You can get real live coaching, free coaching from me right here. Not just me, but anybody else that's in the conversation live that has a perspective on what you're working on. So read ahead, read the tips, note a question or two that you may have. You could email me that question. I could read it and address it without you even being on the line. Of course, we'd rather you be here. It's a party on Sunday night, every Sunday night for Get a Clue in 52. We're going to keep on doing this all the way throughout the year. We're just getting started with the marketing section. The next 11, well, tonight and the next 11 weeks, it's all about marketing. And remember, everything we do is marketing. Absolutely everything we do is marketing. So thanks to those of you that were live with me on Facebook. Thanks to those of you that are watching the live stream on my YouTube channel. Watch Get a Clue, all one word. Thank you for subscribing. And my deepest gratitude to you, Vipul and Patty, for joining me live on Zoom to make it a dynamic conversation and interactive. I can't thank you enough for all of that. Having said that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Tip number 11 overall, and we're going to seal it with a kiss. Is that right, Patty?
Yep.
Ready? All right, you guys ready? Here we go.
Ready, people? Here we go.
Yeah, people, yeah. Wait, where's, oh, there we go. That was a little awkward and sloppy, just like the puppies when they give you a big sloppy kiss after drinking from their water bowl. All right, I digress. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Have a great time this week. Vipul, I'm going to golf without you tomorrow, but I'll be thinking about you. And everybody travel safe in your endeavors. Make it a great week. I'll post a Flyby Friday later on this week to get us into the weekend, but go ahead and kick ass this week. Make sure you end this week with a sore foot from kicking so much ass. All right. Good night, everyone.